we see her successfully play the role of a hero, right? And so that's obviously a big shift for her.
Jinx. I'm talking about Jinx.
Yeah, it's a big shift. And I liked how she kind of tried to play it off. You know, she was kind of like disconnected, a little bit sarcastic, like when she rolls in. You know, she's like, "Here I am, your big fat hero." You know, because she's like, "This is a joke, right?" Like, no, but the way
mocking
people
heroism.
But the way people react to her has a really profound effect on her. Yeah.
I wanted to know why, though. And I felt like if I had seen Jinx at full strength in the war, when she was leading people,
yes.
then if she withdrew when they were all captured, and then she re-engages to free them, and they're all reaching out to touch her and make sure that she's actually there, I feel like that would have had a lot more emotional connection if I had actually seen them be real emotionally invested in her leadership, which was conspicuously absent from the story.
Well, I mean, they were invested in her as a symbol. Like that's a big part of why she's not there active from a storytelling perspective. Because
then show me some of that. I mean, that's weaker.
There's so much of that. Like that was what that music video was at the beginit. Like
So I got a picture of the music video, Heath. So this is one of my issues.
I thought that part was so powerful. I
thought it was very generic and hold on more. It was overly abstract and generic. Here's what my problem is.
No, disagree, but go ahead.
No, that's okay. And I'm sure you've got good points, Brianna. This is only my take. I tried to go back and figure out what it is that was irking me about some of the scenes, mainly in episode 4. One is something Heath and I both, I think, mentioned. Jinx is absent. So here we have this opening number, this like hardcore, we're anarcho, revolutionaries, we're going to paint the town blue. And that means, we're going to get our rage out. They're going to fight the system. But they're all characters we've never met, right? Jinx is not out leading these people. They're all it's just random generic shots of people angry, but with almost no characters that we know. And even when they show a character we know, it's like in passing, and they focus like all the face shots and all the focus is on these characters we've never met. Similarly, when somebody gets captured, they spend a lot of time beating up this person. I don't know who the heck this is. This is just like some random citizen, and they're like beating him, and they're like, you got close-up shots of and I'm like, these should be characters we know. We should have the lead characters involved in this, and these scenes might have more punch. But right now, it's generic and anonymous and abstract, and I think that weakens this. I think if you're really into like anarcho revolution, then those things would probably be awesome. But from a pure storytelling standpoint, I think your lead characters are missing from these scenes.
Which characters would you put in the scene?
What's that?
Which characters would you put in the scene?
Like Jinx. If you have the revolution going, they have like Savika out there trying to like rally the troops in front of the statue. I'm like, why are they putting her there? And
I couldn't figure out why Jinx didn't go to the thing. What do you mean?
And then the little girl fires the blue flare, and we're all supposed to be like, oh my God, that is so Jinx-like. Oh my God, she's firing the blue flare. Oh, this is so symbolic. And I'm like, but why not have Jinx? Like, why are all these other stand-ins doing all this?
We're leading up to it.
I know, but I think, it's like the Phantom Menace. Part of the problem with that is we did a lot of lead up, and it's just not as interesting as having your main characters engaged more directly and moving more into the conflict more directly. It's harder for me to get engaged in a scene like this where he's beating up a character I've never met than if he's beating up Jinx. If he's fighting Jinx or Savika or someone who's got a stake in this, I'm probably going to lean forward a little bit more in these scenes. That said, these are going to be fine if this wasn't Arcane. With Arcane, I just expect a little bit more. If this wasn't Arcane, then I'd be like, oh man, and let's say this started, I might be, who are these characters? But anyway. And by the way, this is only for episode.
Better with Bacon. Better with Bacon says, yes, I understand the chaotic nature of Jinx. Okay, so yes, that's what she's symbolizing. And Jinx is truly chaotic, as I said, firing off a missile and then giving up is very on brand for her. So that's it. So maybe that's it. She fired the missile, and that's what makes her a symbol of the revolution. But she's so chaotic that she doesn't even hang around for another few days. She just fires off the missile and then is gone.
I mean, that act of firing the missile was a very big, like, emotional expression too. Like, I don't think that was something that was a calculated, like, I'm going to start this war. It was like it was a very,
but
like,
it's not an accident either.
No, it's not an accident, but I'm just saying, like, I don't think she was like, I'm going to lead a revolution. Like, that's not her personality. But like that.
No, she doesn't have to lead a revolution. She doesn't have to lead a revolution. She can just be like chaos and be doing things.
A disruptor, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. So Frederick, yeah, let us know what do you think we're missing. Please do let us know. I'll be monitoring the comments. The Titterpig Rancher Sable Phoenix says for $20, the biggest problem with this music video, everything is trying to it's the biggest problem with this music video, everything it's trying to show us. We already knew was going to happen when the rocket hit at the end of season 1. We should have gotten here with the first act or even the first episode of season 2.
I think that's correct. Right. These are throwaway scenes because they're not telling me anything I didn't know. They're not being like, hey, guess what? They're pissed now. It's like, dude, this is episode 4. She fired the missile last season. Like, I get they're pissed. I got that they were pissed in season 1, you know.
I think it was doing a lot more than saying that it was pissed. I think it was showing the like for me, this is the other thing I was going to say is that not only in this episode did I personally feel more in line with Jinx, and I have a few more reasons I'll say in a minute, but I also felt like, I don't know if you guys felt the same way, but like for the first time I was really fully 100% with Zaun and like 0% with the Upper City, because all this, you know, police state imagery, I feel like is very real, really hits close to home. And it's just like such an obvious, like, okay, well, this is just authoritarianism at this point, you know? And like, you know, the only moral response is to resist something that evil. So, I don't know. That was kind of like a strong response I feel like I had to that. Yeah.
A lot of revolutionary leaders.
It was like using these, like a lot of imagery that we see in, you know, a lot of real life stuff, right? A lot of like, it's
right.
That's really evocative elements of history and of modern day. But something else I was going to say on that. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. I will stop talking. Someone else talk.
Well, I will say this. You don't have to be a revolutionary leader to be involved on some level. A chaotic personality who's like hanging out and relaxing and all of that seems a little odd. Like you could say it's chaotic to switch your mind back and forth.
She's not relaxing. She's shifting her focus, and her priority is taking care of this younger kid.
Well, that could be too, but also there's
and then that came too early.
Right. Well, but it's also dangerous outside. So you still have to protect her from this chaotic world, partially that you're responsible for. Secondly, you don't have to be a military leader to be involved in a heavy way in the revolution. A lot of people fly solo. You know, think of Lawrence of Arabia. He was kind of a solo act for a while before people started to follow him on accident. You know, he wasn't part of the British military, hierarchy. He was very small down the chain. So she could have just been doing whatever she wanted to do to disrupt and sow chaos in her own way. She doesn't have to be a military leader or part of any structure. To be completely withdrawn just seems to be the oddest choice for her character, in my opinion, and also from a writing standpoint.
She should be having some fun.
Put her on the bench.
She seems like she values some fun.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's
having fun.
Yeah, I still think this is supposed to be a shift for her. You know, shift in priorities. I remember the other thing I was going to say, which is that this is also just showing her as a symbol, right? Showing how she's affecting the rest of Zaun, and so that's why we're a little bit more anonymous, because we're showing a lot of, a lot of random people that are changing their behavior as a result.
But are they? I mean, they weren't like this before in season. They weren't angry, and there wasn't the tension. I mean, I felt like we built up to this a while ago, and you know, if anything, open with something like this, where you know, Piltover's ready to start fighting, and these guys are ready to start fighting. It just seemed like generic revolutionary imagery to me that didn't advance anything and didn't tell me anything new. That's all.